when I saw other people kind of, trying to dispel what Sam and I do, they will lopside the mortgage. When I give you an example, over here we got a 3% mortgage. Over here we have a 21% HELOC. Over here, I watched the video you guys did with Denzel. You did a 2-part series with Denzel and another gentleman that I'm not familiar with, but Denzel is playing the part of debt freedom, but this guy over here is talking about generational wealth. It's like, that's apples and oranges. So I think what we need to do today is, for the first time that I've seen on your channel, is remove the variables. Let's just compare product to product. Instead of giving a lopsided victory to a mortgage and is stacking the cards in the deck against the HELOC, let's just run the math based on the same numbers. And let's see, based on product, which one makes more sense. Then let's add one variable at a time. That would be my proposal.
Amazing. Sam, do you want to just give like a opening statement to what brings us all together?
Yeah, this is great because in my culture, the older guy goes first. So this works out. Just, I'm kidding, Michael. I love you, man.
Looking person for last.
I'm not calling you old. Just being respectful.
The person with the better haircut. How's that?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So that.
Yeah. No, I think the big part of it is just being very clear on what we do. I know Michael's got his practice and his company. I got my own, and though we may do something similar in the same spirit, but I think what we do fundamentally, we have unique propositions, unique ways to do things. And just like how Michael and I have a lot of agreements actually in spirit, there's some things that I think were, for the purpose of the video, were either misrepresented or just not shared in the facts. I know the critic that we're talking about has often compared us with, another company, Renatus. And I think Michael and I both agree that we're not that company. We do something rather different. How it is marketed with Renatus and how it's been taught may greatly differ, versus what we do. So I think creating some distinction and really creating clarity about the conversation is really important for me, because right out of the gate, I'll share whatever Zach, our awesome critic here, shared. In the essence, I agree with what he is saying in terms of, well, the only way to pay off your mortgage is through extra principal payment or reduction of principal balance. Okay, no one's arguing that. You can't use a 21% HELOC to pay down a 3% mortgage. Yes, I agree.
What even exists? I'm not even aware of one.
Right. So it's one of the reasons why, okay, I agree with fundamentally the math and the philosophy behind Zach, but I don't think our critic understands that it's not what we're saying. It's not what we're teaching. And in fact, we would actually end up finding a lot of agreements fundamentally. I think one of the things that I may disagree is how our critic approached us, perhaps. That might be an area that I might disagree with. But yeah, I think just establishing clarity and just stating the facts as to what we do. Michael's going to have his strengths. I'm going to have my strength to present. And I think that's what we're all about at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can say this, that there's a ton of people with life insurance license, and almost every day we get bundled in with all the life insurance is a scam. Right. This is this, and it's, yep. I find myself, listen, yeah, I don't disagree. Like if Dave Ramsey, if what he said was actually like, if I agree with his points, be like, yes, but it's like, sometimes we take what someone says on a microphone as a fact. And right. That's the benefit of education and being able to push back with actual what's happening. Sam, I think it would be, let's start with you. What is your actual program? And I know even you're not even able to say certain things. You're very disciplined with like, hey, this is what I can say, this is what I can't say. So there are certain words, I'll just say it, like philosophy banking are things that you don't have videos that are talking about this currently. You don't use that in any marketing. And so in a sense, like you do something totally different. Can you explain your program? You can share as much or as little as what people pay, how what is the overall promise and how do you help people? And then Michael, I'll ask you next, just so that we can like set this record straight, because again, there's claims being made. You guys are getting bundled into, all kinds of things, but I think it's pretty clear that if you have a video on velocity banking, but you don't teach velocity banking, where is the overlap? Because I do believe you're a fan of first liens, potentially,
Yeah.
but I don't want to speak for you. So why don't you just share a little bit about what you do in that side of the business?